Is there any behind-the-scenes stories from Pixar's most challenging projects, like anything that comes to mind that you might want to share? I'm sure there's plenty.
Well, certainly
Chapter one.
first thing I'll share is that the first set of reels you put up can be an unmitigated disaster. It's only topped when the first set of reels aren't too bad, and then the second set of reels are an unmitigated disaster, where you start thinking, like, what were we thinking? Why did we think that was a clever idea? And it's very common in our process to just kind of find that the stuff you thought was working just wasn't, and having to kind of go back to the drawing board a bit and start over, and having the intestinal fortitude to do that. It's such a different process, from live action when you think about it. I've thought about it a lot, and I learned when we were trying to do that Frankenstein movie, even though I studied animation in college and so forth, and done a little bit of animation on other projects, but not like a feature animated film. And all of the steps you go through, it's very sobering to figure out that process. And I realized a great live action director is almost a little bit like a jazz musician. They get on the set, the actors come in with something, the weather's away a certain day, the set feels a certain way because of the way it's lit. Yeah, everything, there's this group of people that are coming together to get a shot and to get a sequence. And you have to make each one of those things in animation. So it's almost more like a classical composer going over the thing over and over and over. That's why I used to read so many scripts when I was at ILM. And if you saw a great script, it usually ended up being a great film. But you could sometimes see a mediocre script that ended up being a great film. And it was because of all those pieces that come together. The director on a certain day seeing an alt to shoot with the actor that suddenly is the memorable thing of the scene and so forth. You don't get those same sorts of things much in animation. You'll get a voice performer every now and then that'll come up with something, or you'll get an animator who will deliver a little bit of a different performance than you were expecting, but not the kinds of magic you see on the live action set sometimes. So it's interesting to always kind of go through that process. Live action directors look at the stuff and can't imagine how it's longer than going to college to make one of these films. So the most interesting story is a story that's almost on every film, which is, what were we thinking? And then you get those people together and no, there was an idea here, and we maybe took the wrong pathway there, but if we shift it here and we bolster it with these folks in this scaffolding, it starts to become something different. And Andrew Stanton said one time when he's writing or making a film, he sets out to make a brontosaurus, but he's really just a paleontologist. So he gets the bones and he thinks they're brontosaurus bones, but as he gets more and more and excavates more, suddenly he realizes it's a stegosaurus, and that's what the movie is. And it's sort of discovered and uncovered as you go what the beating heart of the thing was down there. And it's such a strange process in a way, but when it works right, it's kind of a magical thing.
I think that's such a valuable lesson just by itself, because if you have the full picture, it's very hard for you to be able to pivot and kind of move on your feet and adapt to what's going on. But if you're just piecing together bits and bits as you go, then it's a chance for you to start to adjust your plan or your vision as it goes.
I say doing a 5-year film's a long time. Of course, as we know in live action, if you count the script writing years before something comes to fruition, they're probably not that different in terms of time horizon and so forth. And increasingly, maybe not that even different in the physical production with so many films being so heavily in effects now. There's so many crossovers in the way that we make our live action and animated movies now, that it's and tropes from both have infused themselves into the other. And I'd say from that point of view, it's a pretty vibrant time for us in this business, that those two sides have come together in a very different way.